chosen one.
What's up, meatbags? It is the often imitated, never duplicated, chosen one of CG, Chicano Stanley, bad guy, bad dude, bad actor, the one, the only Frog Tony. Once again, we're back to talk about the FTC. We cannot avoid the FTC on this channel. We've talked about it when we dabbled in the Amico content. We talked about it when we dabbled in the Arcade 1-Up content. And now we're back to talk about it here with the Rippaverse. Now, I'm going to go over this little section here that I cut out from the FTC website so we can get a general overview of what we're talking about here. So it says the FTC works to stop deceptive ads, and its endorsement guides go into detail about how advertisers and endorsers can stay on the right side of the law. If you endorse a product through social media, your endorsement message should make it obvious when you have a relationship, material connection with the brand. A material connection to the brand includes personal, family, or employment relationship, or a financial relationship, such as a brand paying you or giving you free or discounted products or services. Now, like I said, this is just a small snippet from the actual FTC website. You can go to the website, get the full picture. You can read the entire endorsement guide. It is a great read. And if you do social media, if you're on social media, if you're going to get brand endorsements, you're going to get sponsorships, you really, really need to read this because it is vastly important that you follow these guidelines. Now, if you need a TLDR on the situation, essentially what they're saying here is if you have any sort of relationship with a company and you are endorsing their product, you need to disclose that because the general public needs to be aware of your relationship so that way they can form a proper opinion on whether or not to believe your endorsement, right? So if you're saying, hey, you should buy Coca-Cola, it is the greatest pop ever, any other pop is inferior, and you don't disclose that, in fact, you're the brother of the CEO of Coca-Cola, that could be a very big problem because, you see, people might not believe you. They know the truth, right? And that's why people try to keep these things hidden. That's why they try not to disclose. And this is exactly why the FTC requires you to disclose. Now, there are certain exceptions. There's going to be certain rules and regulations. You know, there's a lot of minutia, right, involved. Somebody who has absolutely no following, right? You got no following, you get 10 followers on Twitter or something, and you're talking up a product. You're saying, oh, this is the greatest chocolate bar ever. And it turns out that it's a chocolate bar being sold by your brother. You're probably not going to get in trouble. Probably. I'm not saying guaranteed. I mean, if the FTC really, really wants to be sticklers, they can get you, but they probably won't because you don't have a following. You're not an actual influencer, right? However, somebody who has influence, somebody who is have a following, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platform, and you're endorsing a product on that platform, and so hundreds, thousands, perhaps millions of people are seeing your tweets, your post, whatever, your videos, and you're endorsing something and you're not disclosing any sort of relationship, whether you got a free product, whether you got a sample product, whether or not they gave you a discount on some other things, or they just gave you straight up cash. If you're not disclosing, that is a violation of FTC guidelines. Now, companies who are caught doing this, companies, remember, they're also responsible. It's not just on the party who's doing the advertising. It's on the party who's also hiring the person who's doing the advertising, right? You both get in trouble. But for the company side, as this snippet says, companies that receive this notice and nevertheless engage in prohibited practices can face civil penalties of up to $50,120 per violation, right? So, obviously, you're going to get told, hey, you're violating some things got to be fixed. And then if you don't fix those things, you're going to start getting hit with penalties and violations, right? And that can add up real quick when someone's out there posting on social media, making videos and mentioning you in live streams. These infractions can mount up very, very quickly, right? But Eric July, the Rippaverse, clearly It's not done any of this, right? Clearly, Eric July is too smart to engage in such felonious behavior, right? We would never catch Eric July hiring people to endorse the products of the Rippaverse without proper disclosure, right? Clearly, because I've not seen a single influencer, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter, uh, those are the only two places I go, but I'm sure other people, other detractors go on the TikToks, they go on the Facebooks, they go on the Instagram. No one has ever noted that a influencer or anyone of note was endorsing the Rippaverse and saying that it was a sponsored post. It was a sponsored video. I've never seen a review of any of the products or any of the, hey, this is coming out soon. By the way, I was paid to tell you guys this. I've not seen any of those. And again, I don't think any detractor has, because we would have talked about it in the past. I have seen the official advertisements, which are clearly labeled as advertisements. So Eric July is aware what needs to be done for this advertisement. So again, I don't believe that Eric would be this stupid. However, there is evidence to the contrary. Now, before we get to that evidence, before I show you the smoking gun, as it were, I'm going to need you to go ahead and hit the like button on this video. Perhaps subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Share this with your friends. I got to do all the YouTube-y things. Become a member, perhaps. Visit our merch store. Now that that's out of the way, guys, let's look at the evidence. Now, what we have here in front of us is a Discord message from a Sheepsidian. Now, if you don't know who Sheepsidian is, you can go to the Rippaverse Wikipedia page, and on that page, the wiki page says Sheepsidian is the former community manager for Rippaverse Comics. Now, as far as I can tell, he was the community manager all the way through 2024. Okay, it's very important. As you can see, this message is from April 6th, 2023. So at the time that this message was sent, Sheepsidian was an employee of the Rippaverse, right? I don't know what happened. I don't know if he quit, got fired, if there was a falling out. All I know is he no longer works there currently, but he did work there when he sent this message. And the message reads, hey, I'm reaching out to a few people who are relatively informed with comics and seeing if they want to help with promotion for ISOM number 2. It's not employment, but we're working out compensation for the folks that help out. And then he links a Google Doc that no longer works for the Rippaverse Street Team application form. Now, if there is such a thing as a Rippaverse Street Team, I have not seen a single disclosure of that. If there are people posting on social media, if there are people posting on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, making YouTube videos, if there are people promoting the Rippaverse or their Rippaverse products, right? Not just necessarily the Rippaverse as a company, but it could be particular products. Hey, go promote ISOM 3, go promote Yaira number 2, go attack the detractors. If people are being paid to do this, they're not disclosing their relationship, then clearly that is an FTC violation. Clearly, Eric July should be penalized within the full extent of the law to make sure that these deceptive practices don't continue, right? This goes beyond astroturfing, right? This isn't Eric July trying to create fake buzz. No, this is Eric July directly trying to deceive consumers, right? That's what the FTC guidelines are all about. It's trying to protect consumers, because we got this new world in which influencers, social media people, they can show off products, endorse products. And the FTC a couple years ago really cracked down on this because things were getting out of hand, right? When the original guidelines for product endorsement, product placement, and all that was put in place, things like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok weren't around. And so the FTC updated those guidelines a couple years ago. How do I know this? Because, again, we dealt with this during the Intellivision Amico saga and the Arcade 1-Up saga. So definitely, if the FTC were to investigate, I am pretty sure they would find evidence that this has happened and probably still happening. I wouldn't doubt that this is still a thing, right? Which would explain a lot of the odd social media posts, a lot of the weird sort of excitement from these isolated corners that don't actually have a lot of engagement, don't have a lot of interaction, don't have a lot of genuineness behind it. So, the Rippaverse Street Team, or as I like to call it, the Rippaverse Violate the FTC and Get Eric July sued for a lot of money team. I know that's a mouthful, but I think that's a better descriptor of what's going on here. But what do you guys think? Am I off base? Is this an error in my part, right? Obviously, Sheep City didn't get this street team put together. Couldn't find enough members to make this great Rippaverse on the street level team of guys and gals to promote the comics. Or do you believe, like I believe, and like the evidence suggests, that Sheep City was reaching out to people who had influence, people who could get others to buy comics based on their recommendation, had them recommend the comic, compensated them, and did not disclose that they were compensated as such? Now, obviously, you know which way I lean. I want to hear what you guys think. Am I wrong? Is the FTC violations not real? Am I imagining things? Am I reaching? Or perhaps I am correct, as I always am. But until next time, love, peace, booty grease. I'm out this bitch.